This is the TCL by Viltrox, and yes, I'm sure you've heard of these before. It's a teleconversion lens made for the X100 series cameras, and essentially it just gives you the 50mm field of view rather than the 35 that comes standard on all X100 cameras. The TCL and the WCL by Viltrox and Fujifilm will allow you to expand the coverage of what you typically would get with a 35mm. So I want to dive in and talk about how good this thing is and the pros and cons of it to see if it's something that you might be interested in. First off, I want to jump in with the elephant in the room: price. This is priced at $189 USD, and the competition, which would be Fujifilm, is priced at $400. That is over twice as expensive as this one is. So if you are looking to save a bit of money and get a 50mm lens for your X100, definitely might want to consider this one. I'm going to start with the cons just because I want to get those out of the way. The pros are my favorite. So really, number one is the size is awkward. I mean, your X100 is very small. Whichever series you have, they're all the same size just about. And once you put this on there, it definitely changes the whole entire vibe of the camera itself. But if you are somebody that likes to travel, you can toss this in a bag very easily. You don't have to have it on there at all times. And it is large for the camera, but not that big really. The WCL, which Viltrox now makes, check out the other video to watch that one, is a little bit smaller than this one. So it's a little more like the Leica Q cameras. Whenever you put them side by side, they're almost identical in size. So it is quite smaller than this one. It's not really a pretty lens to look at. Even though it's not technically a lens, it's a conversion lens, it's kind of ugly in my opinion. The TCL versus the WCL, I would say the WCL is just a better lens to look at. However, you are getting your 50mm, and it makes sense to why it would be that way. It does have character, and that's one thing that I like, so this is going to be on the pros and cons list, but some people don't. Some people want something that's very clinical, and this one is not clinical in the sense that there is quite a bit of flaring. And me, personally, I do like flaring, but maybe you don't, so I'll put it on the cons list because who knows who you are and what you like. It is pretty front heavy when you put it on the X100. The X100 is light, it's made of almost nothing it feels like, and this gives it a little bit more girth, and it definitely weighs it down in the front. But I don't think that it's going to strain your back by any means. I've worn it for several hours, but I also typically carry really heavy cameras for hours upon hours on wedding days and other events that I shoot. So it's not that big of a deal to me, but if you're somebody that has always traveled light and you don't know what to expect, definitely take that into consideration. Just like the WCL or any other type of attachment that you put on these things, it is going to cover up the OVF, the optical viewfinder, just a little bit. If you are somebody that uses the OVF, I would recommend shooting with two eyes or just using your EVF. Honestly, that's all I do. Thank God that those are around because it does make life a lot easier. The OVF is fun to play with, but I just don't use it that much. Let's talk about the pros, my favorite things about this lens. You get a new focal length for your amazing 35mm fixed focal length camera. It's just an expansion of that. Don't think about it as you're sacrificing anything by purchasing one of these and using them, because you don't always have to have it on there. Unlike normal cameras where you do have to have lenses being interchanged all the time, it is nice that this can be just tossed away and your camera still works the exact same with or without it. So it is just an expansion of your camera. It does automatically show the metadata on the camera and within the software. So whenever you pull up on your iPhone or if you're looking at Lightroom, it shows that you're using a 33mm lens. Now, back to a pro con, me, it's a pro, the character. You do get the nice lens flares that I love, and there's especially this one red ball that pops up very often that I really like to get. It's easy to sway away from it if you need to by just pointing your camera in a different direction. These don't have lens hoods, so you do have to definitely think about what you're doing while you're shooting with these so you don't get that lens flare if that's something that you don't want. But for me, it's a pro. It does create more separation. You're using a longer lens. It is telephoto, or almost, and it definitely separates your subject from the background. That can definitely be beneficial for people who like to take portraits or street photography. This is not a cheap lens. It's just priced well. In my opinion, the $400 price tag for the TCL from Fujifilm is absolutely absurd. There's no autofocus motor in this whatsoever. It's just piggybacking off the system's autofocus that's already there. So in my opinion, that's way overpriced. This one is priced well, and it does its job very well too. I haven't noticed any difference between the autofocus of this with and without the TCL or the WCL, so they work really great. The image quality is the exact same. You're still getting the amount of megapixels that you would on either camera that you're using. So if you're using the X100 VI, you're still getting 40 megapixels. It's still gonna be sharp and look fantastic. So who is this lens for? In my opinion, it's for people that like to travel, where they can throw things into their bag and still keep their kit very, very small, because the X100 is small and these lenses aren't big compared to other lenses. I would highly recommend it if you do like to take portraits, landscapes, or street photography, because it's going to give you a different world that you're going to live in, essentially, because you're not shooting 35 anymore. And I know the X100 series were made to have a fixed 35mm focal length, but it's just nice to have something where you don't have to go out and buy a whole new super expensive lens and you're already using your favorite camera, and you can just throw this thing on there and it doesn't cost that much. So I think they're kind of a no-brainer. And in the other video where I did with the WCL, I did mention that you could buy both of these, TCL and WCL, the wide angle conversion lens, for the same price of one Fujifilm lens, which is insane. So thank you guys so much for watching. If this was helpful, let me know in the comments below, and make sure you follow me over on Instagram to keep up with my latest and greatest work. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.